I was waiting for some Lumex coming up from works, the general stores, and I says, oh, you're being bad again. I said, you're just getting back to work, Tommy. He lived from Dipton originally, he lived in Bertha Street. He says, he says, being bad with me nerves. I says, yeah, no. He says, he was captured off the Japanese. And then all of a sudden, out of a lot that was captured, there was 2 or 3 of them that were took to this pit. He didn't know where it was, this mine, this coal mine. He says it was 750 feet underground. And he says the cages is going up and down all the time. He says we were never allowed up. He says there was guards there. Now he says what got me, and he started crying at this point. He says what got me, Wolf, and a lot of other lads, the Japanese knew, he says, you give your name, rank and number. He says the Japanese after a while knew what pit I was from, Dipton, knew what me tubbage was, and I had to get the same, on their rations, had to get the same tubbage out. Now he says, when we got back home, he says, how I got back home was, he says, one morning, he says, the cages were at the bottom, the ropes were at the bottom, there was no guards. And he says, after a while, he says, there was 2 of us, he says, were climbed up. He says, when we got out through this wreckage, he says, there was nothing there. He says, we didn't know where we were, but he says, they were at Nagasaki, where they dropped the second bomb. He says, that's what saved them, because we were right underground. And he says, when we got home, he says, we asked the British Legion, the MOD, members of Parliament, everybody. How did them bloody Japanese know where we were from, what pits, and our tubbages? And he says, nobody would give it. And he was crying his eyes out, this poor fella, poor Tommy. He said they just wouldn't tell it. Either they wouldn't tell us, or somebody was selling it to them, or what, we don't know.